Is everything all right?
Yep, everything's great. I was thinking, like, did I
We
do
just
it?
start the episode. We're just like, just,
Sure, go ahead. I don't care.
is this where you
I
want to
had this
start the
whole,
recording or no?
I had this whole thing planned for this opening, but
Here, I got something for you though, for an
okay.
opening. Uh, what the hell is wrong with you? And
What?
what do you mean? What? First of all, so there's this movie that we're gonna be talking about later, and like you tried to meme
Oh,
me all day, and I was just tired of it. I was not in the mood. I just did not take it seriously.
I meant to send. I
I don't know.
meant.
I don't know if you were drunk or not, or
What are you talking? Like, are
have
you
you
talking about my
seen
text
Amy?
messages?
Have you seen Amy? Hey, have you seen Amy
Yeah,
yet?
no, I was doing that intentionally. The only time I didn't, I was trying to be funny, but the last time I asked, I was actually being genuine. Like I was thinking, oh, did you see it, by the way? Because we're doing this soon. I thought you were talking for a second because I told you to watch Amy, and it's not a happy film.
No. Or
Um,
so just like the last
Moonrise
time.
Kingdom would have been
Yeah.
so much more happier for you
In
to see. That's why I did it because I felt like
for,
internals. I felt like
well, for anyone that might be binge watching the show, maybe possibly, the last time you recommended the movie was Moonrise Kingdom, and to
they took
update, it's not on Netflix anymore, so that's why
they
I had
took
to watch
and it was
Amy.
and I checked when I recommended it. Like I think I even checked it in the middle of that episode. It was still up. They just took it down. So I went with Amy, which was my recommendation for this week, and I didn't have enough time to properly get a new get a new recommendation. So I'm kind of like stuck between four movies, one of which I think is great, but there's a huge chance Zach's already seen it, and three of which are just kind of like decent films for me, but like
And
not favorites.
we'll get to that after.
Yeah, let's not do the movie discussion until near the end of it.
But
Like,
just a heads up, we will later on be talking about Amy, which is a documentary about Amy Winehouse, and The
yep,
Informant, which
that
is
was
a
my new
Matt Damon
recommendation.
film. The Informant, which is a Matt Damon film that I recommended to Mike. So
Yep.
we'll be talking
So
about
the
those.
informant was still up there. Thank God. All right, let's start off by talking about a couple of things. I want to bring up some shows that we've mentioned in the past on this series,
Mm-hmm.
this season specifically. Although some of them have been talked about many times in the past as well. And those are the 100, Better Call Saul, and Disenchantment. Disenchantment's just a quick side note, because I know that you don't have really much to say. I assume you haven't watched any more of it, right?
No.
I'm not saying like make it your thing, but honestly, I will say once there's more episodes out, if it gets renewed for a second season, at the time I don't think it has yet, and that's not a good sign because it's been out for like a month now. Um, I'm rewatching it because my little sister started seeing some of it and she wanted to watch more, and I watched the first episode again last night, and one other night I was with a couple friends and we watched a few, and I still like it I like it just as much, if not more, rewatching it. It's not a popular show, but like I've really enjoyed it. Like I've enjoyed. I just think Futurama and The Simpsons is better, but for sure. But it is a good show in my opinion. I really enjoy it.
This doesn't make it a fact or anything, but like the only YouTube video I've ever had recommended to me after watching Disenchantment is something about like Disenchantment is terrible in the title or thumbnail or
Well,
something.
yeah, and a lot of people said it was terrible, and I
Mm.
mean, I haven't watched any of these videos. A lot of people are saying it. I'm watching this and I'm not getting why
Mm.
people feel this way. The only thing I can think of is the style is way too similar to the Simpsons and Futurama, and they're just making comparisons. But I mean, it's 10 episodes. Give it more of a shot. The first season of Simpsons was fucking garbage. And then it went off to be the most iconic animated TV show of all time. Maybe SpongeBob. It's one of those two, SpongeBob or The Simpsons. And I would say The Simpsons, honestly, because it's been around longer.
And despite what I think about Disenchantment, like, it doesn't really matter what I'll say because I haven't seen every episode of it, so I really don't think I have a voice to really
I,
talk about it, like, confidently,
people,
opposed
people
to,
can
so, you know.
people can obviously criticize things. Like, I just don't understand why Futurama and The Simpsons are just like these top tier of comedy, of animated comedies, and Disenchantment's so bad. Like to me, it's like I think those two are better, but I just don't think that it's like I think it's the same sense of humor. It's as if Matt Groening is doing a funny TV show again because he ended Futurama and The
Honestly,
Simpsons has been bad.
a lot of people might not even want to admit the nostalgia factor of it. Who knows? Around the time when shows like that were pretty rare and new, and now it's like it's just familiar. It's too familiar. I don't know.
I like Disenchantment a lot, and I think that people will probably like it more if it gets more episodes because they only have 10 episodes to judge it off of right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Futurama was even kind of rough when they started it because I watched I've never sat down and watched all of it, but I've seen probably more. Like, I've probably seen like 100 episodes by now. But I mean, I see the newer episodes like more midway and like the movies they did, and then Pinsack recently showed me some of the episodes from the first season, and they were okay, but like I think the show improved a lot. So I mean, just give Disenchantment a second season at least. Like let's try it going again. I think people can like this show. I really like it. The thing I'm not into with it really the only thing I'm not into is I do not like that demon character. I think that he is very predictable, very boring. The only thing he contributes to the show is this story that like they're kind of building up with him, but they go nowhere with him. Like it's those people that are watching over, but they don't do anything. It's just like a bunch of filler. It feels like, and then his contribution
felt like the main
to
plot.
everything.
They really don't do anything. I guess spoiler alert, but I mean,
no, the last 3 episodes it finally goes somewhere. You can say that that's bad. They build up a story, then ignore it until the last.
I mean, it's not really sure to take
like,
that seriously like that, like a comedy like that, but at the same time,
I like that they're doing story just because it's Matt Groening trying something new. Futurama, I hear, had a story near the end of it, but like aside from that, Futurama and The Simpsons had continuity but no story. I like that Disenchantment has a little bit of a story, but that they do individual stories too, because I find those fun. I like I said, the demon character is my only problem with the show because I think his his only contribution to the show is occasionally saying something like I love this is what things are like in hell, or I like it when people suffer and here's an example, and it's like it's it. Like his jokes are ha he said something negative. That's I'm probably explaining it very poorly right now, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, maybe
it's just
I mean there's been a lot of shows. The thing is that criticism is technically not really that bad when compared to like other shows. Like in their defense, like they've got great jokes like The Office and Arrested Development, Parks and Rec, characters that are predictable, but you love them. You've spent time with them enough that their predictability is welcomed.
I like Bean, I like Elfo, I like Zog.
I think with 10 episodes, it's kind of hard to like do that right away. But at the same time, there have been shows that have succeeded in doing that right away. So I don't know if it is a good critique, but with this in particular, it does. Yeah, I don't know. In general, it's a bad critique, but in terms of this, it's fine. I don't know.
I don't know. Like overall, I like it a fair amount. Like I'm not gonna call it one of the best shows ever made, but it's like I think I'd give it a 7 out of 10, and that's like for a first season, really good. Okay, the other shows, the 100. I'm at like 5 episodes in. My cousin and brother keep convincing me to watch, and I'm probably going to because I'm 4 seasons. Yeah, I agree with you now. The thing is, I like the first 2 episodes, but how many goddamn times do we have to have Clark reunite with every single character? It happens every season now. How many times do Bellamy and Octavia have to like each other again, even though
I really don't like Octavia at this point. I haven't seen too much in season 5, but I really don't like Octavia. The more this is like going on, the brother-sister hatred, and he's just trying to fix everything, and she's just like, I don't want it. She's so stubborn. I hate her.
And everybody hates Murphy again, and it's like, God, like it's Murphy so again? Repetitive. What Murphy? He's the one. Yeah. Oh, like it's been hard to sit for this newest one.
It's predictable. It's just it's just the 100. The tone is the same. It's the same.
I feel like there was always enough new shit they were for us though before, where I was still enjoying it. It was always a dumb fun show for me. The only part of it that I think is done like well in a like it's actually kind of interesting way is the leadership aspect, which is a huge part of it because it's just a show about like all like I like that we made it to a point where all of these kids were criticizing Jaha and Abby and Marcus for like the stuff they did when they were in when they had positions of power, but now that they have positions of power, they've done even worse things than those three have done. Um, and it's just like like
show about
it's
survival
they
and
have
all that, the power
very,
control
yeah.
aspect, that kind of
And you
thing
don't have
is
to
terrifying.
you don't have to try to justify their actions
Mm-hmm.
by saying that, but it's just like
Everyone's
fuck,
crazy
what
in the
would you
show.
do
I
in
mean,
that
at this
situation?
point, like where everyone's put in this kind of position, everyone's, of course, crazy. So
Yeah.
it should stir up some really fun drama and everything. It's just very, uh, it's too dramatic. It's like, it's very CW. It's very CW.
Mm-hmm.
It not to a point where they come up with drama just for drama. Like they're still trying to build characters, but it's like
I liked the
it's
first
slow.
two
It's a bit slow.
I liked the first two episodes a lot, and after that, it's
Yeah.
been I'm just getting so goddamn bored. And then finally, Better Call Saul. Are you caught up?
Yeah.
We're 8 episodes done.
I forget.
Okay, like here's the thing.
Yeah.
Let me say this and tell me if you agree with me.
Okay.
I've enjoyed this season of Better Call Saul. I think they've done a lot of cool stuff in this season,
Mm-hmm.
but I think everything in Mike's story this season does not connect to Jimmy's at all, and I think that's a bad thing. And I think that there is no consistent story this season.
Has
It
the
is
story
just
ever
thing
throughout the
happens,
show
thing happens.
connected?
Yeah,
I forget.
yeah. They've always because they've always worked together, and the whole thing and like Gus was necessary too, because
I guess at this point,
because
like
all knew
Gus
that.
is trying to like just kind of dragging Mike away from all that, kind of making it
I
part of his
guess so,
thing
but
now.
like
It's like it's bringing closer to Breaking
like
Bad. It
I
kind of
love
makes
seeing.
sense because
Yeah,
like by the time Breaking Bad
I
happens, Mike and Saul don't really talk as much. They're
I
like people that
don't.
used to know each other, so it makes
I
sense.
guess so. Yeah, but
And
like
I am
that's
enjoying
not
like
my.
the setup of like the underground base and everything, that plot.
It's cool to see that again, but my issue with it is like I don't feel like I'm being presented with any new information, any interest in information at least. I
Mm-hmm.
don't think them spending this much time on building that basement is interesting. I don't think that Mike's relationship with this like guy with the glasses is interesting. I don't think that anything with Gus and Hector's interesting because we know why they hate her and we know how it ends. I don't need all these hospital scenes. Like it just I
I
really
think
feel
that
like I'm
maybe it
getting
goes
nothing
hand in
out of
hand with like the question or like the idea of like when the show was first started, like hey, let's
it.
get
Yeah.
some extra fleshed out stuff from the Breaking Bad universe. That's kind of what this show is. Got to keep that in mind. I personally don't
Season
mind it.
three
Like I
really.
feel like, that guy who's in charge of all the construction guys, he's already screwed up once really badly so far, so I'm curious like what will happen with him? Like, is Gus really gonna find out and get really mad? Like, what's gonna happen to this guy? This character I really like. He's such an innocent dude, and like
Mm.
I feel bad. Like Mike has to like give it to him, and
I
like
think that
I felt like it's the
Mike. I
beginning of
think
something. Maybe not.
because Mike put himself in a position where Gus asked him, "What do you think we need to do with this guy?" And he said, I'm keeping an eye on him, but he's fine." I think if he fucks up now, if he were to fuck up now and Mike doesn't do anything about it, then Mike wouldn't be alive by Breaking Bad because Mike would have broken Gus.
I feel
So I
like
don't think Gus is going to kill this guy. I think Mike is going to kill this guy, and I think it's going to make sense for Mike to kill this guy because by Breaking Bad, he doesn't seem to feel that guilty about killing people.
I was gonna say
In
like
Better Call Saul, he does.
like the guy who's in charge of the whole thing, the innocent guy I was talking about, like if something bad happens to him, like I feel like us is taking away Mike's humanity from the beginning to the end of this show, and like
Mm-hmm.
I find that more interesting than anything. It's not so much like the building of the
That's
ground
a
base.
good
It's like
point.
it's a bit interesting for like Breaking Bad fans, but like
Yeah,
the over looming
that,
idea of like the question of like, oh, what's gonna happen to Mike here, his sanity, sort of
that's a
not
good
sanity,
point. And I
but
mean,
yeah, just
I still
humanity
like
going away.
I still like watching Mike, and I still like. I mean, I like Gus. I like Mike. I
Mm.
like Hector. I mean, I think and I just feel like it's been like a compilation of scenes this season almost. Like
Mm.
it doesn't feel like there's many things attaching things together anymore, and it's just all kind of going loose. And maybe that's the point because Jimmy like absolutely has nothing holding him back anymore. I think that there's a great chance that this is Kim's final season.
Really?
I think that something big is gonna happen. I think that some
Because
way
so
Kim
far
is gonna
things
be
are going
removed
the
from
best for her right now. You think that's why it could just so very easily?
No, did you not see how that last one ended?
I forget. That's what I'm
Well,
talking about.
one, there's this company, and they're asking her if she like the company she's working for. They're asking her, "Hey, can we do this? Like, is this possible?" And Kim doesn't even humor it for a second because she doesn't give a shit anymore. She's just not interested in that. And then she goes and asks Jimmy if they can pull off another crazy stunt. And I thought the shit with Huel was fucking hilarious, by the way.
The
I
phone call
love
stuff.
that. The phone call stuff and just the fucking website of him singing in churches. I love that Huel is such a huge part of the show now.
Yeah.
He was such a minor part of Breaking Bad. I'm interested in seeing what they do with these last two episodes. I feel like Jimmy versus Chuck really kind of like attached the strings through seasons 1 and through 3, and now season 4 just feels like, oh god, it's just like a slice of life show. Like it's just random things happening, and I guess it all connects to like I guess for a while I felt like they were doing great. Like there was kind of like one string attached, and that was Kim and Jimmy's relationship falling apart. I love that opening where it shows the split screen.
Yeah.
And just how distant they became.
I feel like
but now they're kind of missing that, and I'm sure they're going to reverse it again. I'm just wondering, do we need this? It feels like you're having all this build up, and then you stop, but then you're going to have the big thing anyway, and it's I don't know. Maybe I'll change my mind about all of that once I actually see what they do with it.
I like how this season we're seeing a lot more of Saul as opposed to Jimmy. Like he's doing some really messed up stuff. Like he's done some bad stuff the previous season, but like the phone call stuff is like, and trying to get the one guy that was in that one dude's office trap that one episode.
Yeah.
And trying to what was it?
That camera crew at least.
Break the guy's car or something. Yeah, he's doing a lot of really weird stuff. Selling drugs on not drugs, the cell phones inside their own stuff, and getting himself involved in this whole Huel attacking a cop situation.
Yeah.
Sabotaging that. It's getting really close to Breaking Bad at this point.
He's becoming pretty scummy. So I mean, I'm liking
that,
it. But
also, that one episode that started with, him in the original office.
It was a Breaking Bad delete theme basically, and that was really cool. I texted you about that.
Yeah.
I didn't like say what happened, but I was just like, oh god, are you watching Better Call Saul? It's crazy.
Yeah.
Because
this season's been a lot better than season 3. Not that season 3 was terrible, but like
I disagree.
A lot of fun
I
moments.
think season 3 had a better story, and I think that it had that court episode, which is the best episode of the show. I think we've talked
about season 3 enough, where it was like it was a lot of calling back to Breaking Bad, like getting all these characters in. That's what we complained about the most.
I feel like it's been more of that in season 4, honestly. Really? Then not with introducing characters, it just feels like
other than Mike's story.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't know. Everyone else is fine, honestly.
I don't know. I've had mixed feelings about a lot of stuff they did this season, but I'm still enjoying it. Is the thing. I don't want to sound like I really like it. Like I feel like to some extent I kind of agree with you that it's a better season, just because I haven't been that bored watching it. I feel like they're doing like interesting stuff in every episode. Like there hasn't been an episode.
Cinematography and editing is really good this season. They're doing some really creative stuff.
They had this. They started off like in Breaking Bad, and by the end of Breaking Bad, they kind of perfected their craft. And then Better Call Saul.
What was that one episode this season with Kim like shopping for stuff and like all these little things they did with that?
Yeah. No, they have mastered their show's cinematography. It's just like a perfect tone, and I love it. Like I just love how everything's shaped. They make the most boring things look interesting, but sometimes I don't know. I have my issues, but me and you should do a derailed on it once the season's over, like we did last time.
Do you know what time we started recording, by the way?
Nope.
I think it might have been 6:30.
No, we started later than that, but like I say we stopped by 7:40 and if
Okay.
it'll probably either be an hour or a little over an hour,
Okay.
under an hour, one of those.
I
But
I
I'm sure
looked at
they'll
the
be
clock
on.
when we started. I'm like, okay, this is when we started. But I should have written it down. I forgot.
Maybe 7:50, 7:40 or 7:50.
No,
Because honestly, I
6:15,
think
man. It's 7:11 now.
yeah,
Yeah. I don't know.
we met at 6:50 because I feel like we've only been going on for like 20 minutes.
Okay.
Maybe not even that long. I don't know. Honestly,
It
we
doesn't
should
feel
check
that
our
long,
time.
but usually it always is when you look at the
Yeah.
clock. I don't know.
We'll talk. We'll figure. We'll see what else we have to talk about, and then we'll get to our movie discussion, and then we'll end the show. So something
Yeah.
like that.
Do you think there's enough to talk about with the Informant and Amy?
I have a fair amount to say about both of them. But well, let me. Did you see Dane and Austin's new thing?
I haven't seen their blooper reel yet, but yeah.
I haven't either. I watched it.
Put her
what was
down.
your favorite?
That was
one?
probably my
Put her
favorite
down.
skit. Oh, that was good.
That was my
must have
favorite.
taken like that must have been like
You.
a drunk idea, and then they were like they wrote that all down. They were like, this is art. This is great.
I do really like
months
the
later,
last
somewhere.
one though, where it's like, are we out of time? Oh, do we have nine?
There's a lot of them in the middle
baseball
where they
one
weren't
goes on
bad,
too long.
but they were very like they were like okay skits. A lot
Oh,
of
I think
them,
a
but
lot
like
of them were really bad.
yeah, in the beginning and the end were definitely the better ones for sure.
The baseball one I laughed at, but I think it
Yeah.
goes on too long.
No, the
Put her
baseball one I
down.
loved. That was great.
Put Her Down was my favorite.
Yeah.
After that, I love the math one too.
I love the one. I love the Penis Brothers. The
The
music.
Penis
video.
Brothers is
It's stupid,
I like
but
that
it's,
one.
it's just all the
so
shots
well.
and
It's
everything.
so well shot. Well, the thing is, I watched on my own and I wasn't laughing,
Uh-huh.
but then I watched it with a friend and I don't know, it was just like
I'm like wondering like the behind the scenes, like them dressed like that, and all the people that are like stopping them, or like the people that they stop, like trying to get in a conversation with them about what they're wearing. I don't know. In the
It
character.
kind of sounds like I'm liking all of them now because I'm about to praise yet another one. I really like the one where it's just him, the do-it-yourself car shop.
Which one was that?
That one made me laugh.
I remember what it looked like. What were some of the
yo-yo
jokes?
one.
I forget
Okay,
that
let me
one.
insult. Let me insult him a little bit. The yo-yo one I thought was stupid.
Yo-yo one. Yeah, that was dumb.
That one wasn't. That
That
one didn't
was a
last too
throwaway
long.
idea, honestly.
I didn't like the desert one.
Which one was the desert one?
It was where they were so hot and like Austin was smudging a popsicle over his face.
So hot. I thought that was okay. I didn't think it was terrible. I thought it was good.
Their
Decently
comedy
good.
centers so much around taking a line and repeating it as many times as they possibly
I noticed
can.
that too, yeah. They do a lot with green screens too, which is a shame.
Yeah. The news one was like 10 seconds, but it was stupid.
Uh-huh.
What else was there? There was a few others. Like, I do really, again, I like the one that they closed it with.
You know what I'm worried about? Like, not even talking about any of the skits. I'm worried that I hope this was just like a year or two ago, because they said they recorded this in the span of 2 years, I think. But like, I'm worried about Dane's
Did they
skin.
really?
Dane, yeah, I think so. Dane's skincare, dude. He's got some bad skin. I'm just like, what? It's just really bad. Like, especially right here. Not so much in the cornered areas, just like in the center.
He's a computer nerd. That's what happens to him.
Jesus.
I guess you could probably take care of yourself whenever you're not on your computer. But
Like, my skin isn't the best, but not that.
I have okay. I have
No.
okay. I have like moles all over my body, but I think facial wise, I'm pretty good.
It's just like I don't think I've ever had it that bad, like in that area exactly, like right on the eyes, nose, and mouth, exactly.
I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. But
Go to the dermatologist, Daney.
Take care of yourself, Dane. Dude, I liked it though. I hope that they make another one soon. I'll actually donate once I can actually afford to fucking donate. Because I'm not gonna fucking I can't like waste a fucking penny of my money right now. College is fucking eating me alive.
Going back to the put her down skit, like that's like a perfect, like a skit's supposed to start off as something odd, but it has to like escalate. Like that's kind of like the rule of the skit
escalate
comedy.
with the police. Put her down.
It's something simple as like a father teaching his son, how to be a man, and then all of a sudden just cops come in and since like, should I please my dad? Should I do the right thing for the law? All this stuff. Just go. What happened? Oh yeah, the dad died, right? And then you got flashbacks and that. Oh, the transitions were really good in that video too.
They did some
each
pretty
transition
good
to each skit.
They didn't always do
clever.
them though.
Most of the time though, and it was like, oh, it just.
They had the one where it was
Dane down ended, and then I thought I was like, oh, is this actually the dad's backstory? But it was like, no, it's just another character Austin's playing.
The phone one was horrible. The phone one was terrible. I hated that one.
Which one was that?
It's Austin they just got B-roll of Austin going to a carnival and had him do a voiceover about how much he liked his phone.
That was okay.
No, I hated that one. And then there was the one where he's at they're at a restaurant or a diner or something, like a lounge, I don't know. And like Austin's talking about his day, and then Dane's going like, "Oh yeah, yeah," and he's just like doing that little thing. Yeah. And that made me laugh just because my friend Tariq does that to me. I was like, oh god, I gotta show this. I
want to see those bloopers.
So really, I mean, I like most of them. I think that's all of them. I really, what it sounds like to me is I hated 4 of them, and 2 of them were very short, and the rest of them I liked.
They're very fun. What's it?
Very bizarre,
Key and Peele kind of dudes on YouTube. I'm glad the reception, a lot of the comments are like, more of this, please. You know, I'm glad. It's a shame that they take so long to record all of these, but at the same time, you know, they shouldn't rush it because a lot of them did seem, you know, ideas that they just kind of kept the first draft of and didn't work on it more.
I would
Put Her Down one is perfect.
Yeah,
they worked on that one.
I keep almost cutting you off. I'm being obnoxious with that right now, so I'm sorry. I'll try to do better.
At least you apologize.
Fucking
smile.
Yeah. Oh god, what was I about to say?
What were you?
I would not compare it to Key and Peele because Key and Peele like a punchline and
duo skit comedy guys.
I would call their skits a lot more accessible than this because like it's like I think that there is a very specific audience for Austin and Dane's sense of humor. Because, I mean, so many of the skits is just them finding how many ways they can repeat the same line.
It's very Adult Swim feeling.
Being as bizarre as they possibly can. I sent it to Austin, our friend Austin, and he really liked it. I really enjoyed it, though. I hope they make another one. The editing.
I'm glad, you know, when they announced that they're doing the comeback thing, like I thought it was gonna be like, you know, just one skit every week, like, you know, how the normal thing is, but like I like how it's like an episode, you know.
I agree.
That was a good idea.
I like that a lot. That was a good idea.
Be consistent.
Have you seen all their individual skits on that channel?
I think so.
There's one that cracks me up still just because I don't know what the fuck to make out of it. I don't think we're ever going to see Julian on that channel again because I think that I might be wrong here. I think in the Mumkey Jones documentary, I think when Dane's talking about the Rich Alvarez crew being super toxic, I think Julian's one of the names that he mentions. Which is too bad, but
Julian poo. No.
Maybe I'm wrong about that, but there is one of these skits where Julian is in. To be fair, though, there's also some that Jackie are in, and it's just one where like Julian brags about his phone, and then Austin pulls out a dildo, whacks it out of his hand. Julian looks angry, and then a song about Austin's first day of middle school starts playing. And it makes me laugh so hard because I have no idea what the fuck to make of it.
What was that one? There's a video that I see recommended to me every now and then, and I think it was like a music video, and like every time I look at it, like I remember like the theme. Oh yeah, the Did You Know? Did you know?
Oh, I love that one.
It's like I have that in my head randomly, and then I remember that's from Whatever We Want. Like, it seems like something that like.
Dude, it's funny you mentioned that. I was like singing that on my way home from. I'm not like it's so weird. It just randomly comes into my head. I loved that video when it got released.
Did you know?
Today was one of those days I was just randomly sitting in my car and I started going like, "Did you know? Did you know? Did you know?"
It's a good tune.
Yeah, and then it cuts to like the phone song in the middle of it. The infamous one, like just Austin and Dane dancing next to this guy in the streets with a saxophone. It's just such a great shot.
Yeah.
That if they were to make a channel trailer, that would be one of the shots in the trailer. They're supposed to have 2 movies coming out. I wonder what's happened with that. We may have talked about that last episode too. Did I talk? This is a weird, very weird transition to make. Did I mention the CAT scan on the show?
No,
like the results, because I know I talked about it on the show. I don't remember if I mentioned the results.
Maybe go ahead.
Well, I don't have. Well, I'm not dying. I just want to point that out because if I suggest,
you would have been pretty depressed during this episode if you were.
Well, I know I talked about it in an older episode, but I don't think I ever said that I was getting the CAT scan.
Either you did it with the last one with Jeremy, or maybe not.
This is not like an appropriate topic to talk about on the show. I'm gonna regret so much of the shit I said on the show, like someday. I did not need to talk about that on DuckCast, but I figured I should might as well tell them I'm not dying, so that's good. I still have a lump, and they said they could do something to get rid of the lump. It's not killing me. I don't want to get surgery just to remove a fucking bump. It's fine if it's there. It's not bothering me. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't something that was going to kill me.
You can always like draw a pair of eyes and a smile on it.
It's not big enough for that though. That's the sad part. Unless it grows.
Tiny eyes and a very tiny.
I like a big ass one that's been here for years. Wonder if I can see it on the camera. Nope. Wait, no, you can see it a little bit. See?
Your finger's covering it, probably. I don't know. I see hair. Hairy boy.
Don't you see a little bump? Do you see a little bump sticking out?
All darker hairs look like bumps to me. I can't tell. I don't know.
It's like...
Stop showing your bump to the camera. How about that?
It's huge. It's just fucking huge.
Listen, I'm not a dermatologist.
The lighting doesn't work. Right. The lighting doesn't work. All right, that was a fun little segment for this show. Anything else you want about before we jump into the movie?
See, look at my lump.
I'm filming something right after this DuckCast. Me, Tariq, and Gage are meeting up. I have a new show coming out.
If we were one of those clickbaity channels, we would have that in the thumbnail with like one of the circles and the arrow pointing right at it. You know.
I have a new show coming out for Slate Side. It's gonna be almost like what Austin and Dane did because it's very skin oriented, but the only difference is like.
Have you talked to me about this a while ago?
No, because this is new. This is new.
Okay.
This we already started the thing. I like how it's coming out. It's super improvised, like with very little stuff being written down. And it's almost skit-like, and some of it gets really silly. But, like, at the same time, I would consider it different just because, one, I'm open to the idea of adding story arcs into the show, and it is kind of following the same characters. The only time it's not is when it's, like, a film within the show. Like, it's, like, established in the first episode of what we filmed already that these characters make shorts. Mm-hmm. So that's just, it's kind of like canon in the world. Whenever you see something that's really out of place, it's a movie they made. I'm even thinking of putting the first, like, you remember the Bigfoot reality skit we did on the Bemis and Company channel?
I remember.
There's a segment from that I'm planning, and you commented on it. There's like a cop scene that you said you really liked.
Okay.
But I'm throwing some of that stuff into this first one, probably. All right. I mean, I think that's all I got to talk about. Like,
I think we should definitely start talking about the 2 movies now.
Okay.
So, whichever one you want to start with.
We can start with, I don't know, we can start with The Informant.
Okay. What'd you think of it overall?
Okay, so last time me and Zach both were aware of what our opinions of the movies were because we just kind of talked about beforehand. From now on, we're going to I'm going to say what my opinion was, and this is going to be the first time Zach heard it. I thought it was, I hate to break your heart, Zachary, I thought it was very mediocre.
Yeah.
I didn't hate it.
I wasn't sure about it when I first saw it. I was like, is this good or is this
I like stuff about it.
It's based on a true story, like you.
I know. I actually looked into it after that.
So that's interesting, at least. Yeah.
It is interesting, and I don't.
Psycho.
I don't hate it. I gave it a. I'll tell you what my rating is once I'm done talking about it. We'll talk about it. Like, I don't hate it. It's not a bad movie. I just don't think I'm ever gonna watch it a second time.
Yeah.
I think Matt Damon. I'm not he does a really great job in the movie of like just being this compulsive liar. I like one part that I actually really love is he's on the phone with Shepard and he's like, but like his bosses are in the room and he says, okay. Then he hangs up and immediately says, now what if that Shepard guy calls me? And I'm like, that's good.
Yeah.
Like I love that pacing, but the whole time I'm just not convinced that that's the actual person there.
Really?
Yeah, I'm so like that's Matt Damon.
For me, I was mesmerized by him. Like for some reason, he was just very odd, so odd that I was like, what's he thinking in his head? Like, how are the gears turning right
weirdly now? Reminds me of Todd from Breaking Bad. I don't know why. It's just like a tone in his voice, like this. He's the guy in the last season of Breaking Bad who starts working with Walter after Jesse leaves. Oh. He kills a kid.
Oh yeah.
Just because of like the way that, just because of the tones in the voice, like the constant talking, like no, like just this.
He's always like escalating stuff in that movie. The character, yeah. I found I really love that.
And he's lying about stuff that isn't even worth lying about. And
he just does it because he just wants to. He feels like I don't know.
He's a compulsive liar, and I fucking know that person too because I know someone who does.
Everyone does, yeah, I'm sure.
To a point where it's like he could lie about nothing. He could say something that there would be no point in lying about. My mom uses this example all the time where she said she had a friend who would say she's going to the mall later and they wouldn't be able to know if that was actually true. Like that could be a lie because they would lie about something like that. So I did find the character very interesting. Damon's performance is fine. I'm not like, this isn't like an Oscar worthy of performance or anything, but it's fine. And I do think his pacing was really good. Mm-hmm. Like I think he was very good. I think he was very good at jumping from like trying to keep a straight face to immediately lying again.
What do you think of for in general the comedy of the movie, like the subtle,
I did like the comedy actually. That was one of the highlights of this film.
When it started, you thought like, is this going to be more of a serious film or not? And as it goes on, you kind of realize it is the sort of comedy. Yeah.
I think the funniest thing about the movie is one note, like near the end, where it's just so obvious every single thing he says is a lie. Like there's not a. I love when he's in the car ripping his clothes off, like because he's ripping his clothes because he's about to act like he just got abducted.
I love the scene at the very end,
and I love the reactions. I love the reactions of the two FBI agents every time they find out that he's lying again.
Yeah. But they still trust him, like at some point. It's like he's just such a trustworthy looking guy, I guess. But at the end of the movie, when he's like, he just looks like a monster at that point, and you're just like, wow, this got dark. Yeah,
like
crazy. And the fact that it's based on a true story is just messed up. You want to laugh, but it's it's very dark comedy by the end of it because it is based on reality, so it makes you really question your sense of humor. Like, are you a good person or not for actually liking this?
I don't know if this is an issue of the movie or if this is just a context I don't know, because maybe his prison sentence got extended, but I did look up the real guy after this, and his prison sentence they said it was 9 years in the movie, but it was actually 10 years and a half, but he got off 2 years early for good behavior. So
he was updated afterwards. I don't know.
After the movie. I don't know. Like I either like at the point in the movie where they said he had 9 years in prison, his sentence got extended or something, or they just got a fact wrong. I don't know. Or reading the Wikipedia article maybe the Wikipedia article was incorrect. That's very possible.
I just remembered another thing about the movie. Like, wasn't a lot of parts in the movie, like the music, very upbeat and chippery during certain moments?
I like the music a little bit.
Like that really helped out the scenes, comedic scenes.
The music wasn't memorable in the slightest. It was generic, but it did fit the scenes.
It helped. It helped. Yeah.
I like that we had Jeff Winger as the one of the FBI guys. That's the guy from Community.
Oh. Yeah, I know that guy.
One of my favorite sitcoms of all time. And seeing Patton Oswalt was kind of a surprise. Seeing Buster was kind of a surprise. Buster as the lawyer. I'm using that as an example because we were going to talk about Arrested Development. We could end the show with that one.
Yeah, we'll talk about some other time. Arrested.
Yeah. I mean, like I could.
I'm only on season 3 so far, so maybe we should hold it off.
Oh, let me say one thing. I want you. We'll get back to the Informant in just a second, but like watch season 4 and 5 and tell me what you think, because I need like season 4. I liked it, but keep in mind there's a 6-year gap in between season 3 and 4. And season 4.
Am I wrong in in my assumption of what I might have heard? Like, is season 4 and 5 not as good as the first 3 seasons, or is it?
Oh, they're absolutely not as good. Now, I actually
Okay.
like season 4, and and they did this thing that made it a lot better. That you're gonna watch, and it's gonna be Arrested Development something appearing at the title, because originally they released season 4 as a couple of really long episodes, each of which that focused on one character.
Mm-hmm.
And this year they released a remix of it where they edited it to like make them regular sized episodes that would just cut back and forth between each of the character stories, and it's a lot better that way. So, but it will automatically play that version. You have to go into like the special feature section on Netflix if you want to watch the original cuts, and I would recommend watching the remix version.
I'll try to keep that in mind. All right.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna play automatically when season 4
okay.
starts, because that's the official version now.
Okay.
And then season 5, it's only 8 episodes. I waited like 5 years for season 5 to come out because it took them forever to fucking do it.
8 episodes.
And I was very disappointed by it, and I thought there was a couple of funny parts, but I'm also thinking to myself, maybe it was fine, and 5 years is just too long of a wait for them to only deliver 8 episodes.
Did they? Is the show canceled now, or are they continuing it?
No, it's hard to tell. Because in season 5 does not have a good ending. Like it's very much intended to continue. But tell me what you think, because honestly, that might, as someone who's going for the show in order now, you actually might love season 5. And I would say, at the very least, if you watched all the other stuff, season 5 is still worth watching. Especially because season 4 ends on a cliffhanger.
Do the Russo brothers not just direct most of the episodes, but did they create the show or not? Oh, and following up to that question, like, were they even a part of seasons 4 and 5? Because I know they were working a lot with Marvel at this time. So.
Don't know. I really don't know.
If that might have something to do with it, I don't know.
Maybe, but it also just had. I think it was just too long of a wait. Like, they took way too long to do it. They said they were gonna, after season 3, the original plan was just to make a movie, and they should have just made the fucking movie. Because now they brought it back, and like it's like they're almost damaging their legacy.
Well,
but
we'll continue this discussion some other time, I guess.
Yeah, you be the innocent viewer here, going in without knowing all this shit, without having to wait for all these big time gaps.
Yeah.
I actually do like season 4 too. It's not as good as the first 3 seasons, but I like it. It's funny, and the remix version is better.
So now that we're all sad and depressed, let's transition over to a very sad and depressing movie.
Well, let me talk about The Informant just a little bit more, because honestly,
what else?
I just want to like explain what I didn't like about it. It's not, really, what it comes down to is it's just like there wasn't anything especially horrible about it. It was just like I laughed a lot watching it. I kind of thought the main character was interesting. I know it's based off a real story, and like the story is interesting, but as a whole, like it was just, it wasn't. Most of my complaints just was it wasn't amazing. It was fun to watch. I don't regret watching it. I probably will never watch it again. One actual critique I have of the movie, though, is I do think the presentation is kind of poorly done. I don't think there's anything unique about how it's shot. I think the editing
with all
is
very spinning tapes or whatever in the beginning, if that's what they were. Yeah, that's confusing.
Yeah, the best thing I can say with the editing that I liked is I think some of the music cuts were kind of funny. Like, but that was more like that, like played into the comedy. I just think it's funny that you see him walking down a hallway and it's just playing the silly upbeat music, and then his bosses are walking down a hallway with the lawyers, and it starts playing like villainous music, and like that's kind of funny. But the presentation.
Were you like me during like some parts of the movie where it was like very boring? Like you just felt like you wanted to go to sleep at that point, at certain points.
There were parts that bored me.
Like the beginning, yeah.
Though that's another big thing, I guess. That's one I forgot to mention. I wasn't into it until like the first phone call with Shepard, where the part I already mentioned. Like at that point, I laughed. I was like, okay, that's
it takes
funny.
A while to get into.
This guy's I thought it was with the last movie you recommended me, The Departed. I was into it from the first second it started. This movie, it's like it took me a while before I liked it. So there's like a good 20 to 30 minutes where I was just bored and.
I'm glad I got someone else's opinion on it though, because I saw it and I really was not sure. I even looked at reviews online, and I just wasn't sure either, because it's just online reviews, so you never know. But
I mean, it got okay scores on Rotten Tomatoes, and IMDb kind of like a 6.5. My final score, tell me what your score is if you have one, but my final score of The Informant is a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, 6. Maybe 6.5, but 6. Yeah, let's go with that.
Yeah. Okay, so I told you to watch Amy. This is a documentary I saw 2 ago in a film class I was taking, but I really loved it. And done, realistically, the most depressing documentaries I've ever seen. Like, if you're actually, talking about the subject, it's going to be, I've seen Holocaust and 9/11 documentaries. Those are obviously the saddest. But from a personal level of like which one is actually like causing me the most emotions, I would say Amy is the second most depressing documentary I've ever seen. The other one is Dear Zachary, and I would never recommend that on the show. No idea to talk about that
You're
one.
cutting out a bit your audio, but
is this okay now?
I think so.
Okay. Well, also I'll repeat myself.
What the heck was that?
Depressing documentaries, like the most depressing subject I've seen in documentaries is stuff like big world tragedies, obviously. But I'd say from a personal level, the most depressing documentaries I've ever seen was Amy and Dear Zachary. Dear Zachary is still the most depressing I've ever seen. Amy is second, though. Yeah. I would never recommend Dear Zachary even recommending Amy feels a little weird because, I mean, what we're talking about a tragedy here. And it feels weird to criticize a movie like that. That really was just because Moonrise Kingdom was taken down, though, and I needed something. But what did you think of Amy? I think it is so cool that they had just all of this footage. They had so much to work this movie. Like, there wasn't a point where they were, like, cutting the pictures and slowly zooming into them while they were black and white with a voiceover. They had so much of like Amy's voice in the movie. They had so much footage that her friends were taking with her. It was just very fascinating to me.
I wasn't paying attention to what you just said a few seconds.
Asshole.
But I was texting someone.
I said, good excuse. I was saying that.
What? Okay.
Put your phone down for a second.
It's important stuff.
What I was saying is that I'll repeat myself again. Like, I think that it's almost a weird movie to talk about and recommend because I really need to give you something. But we are talking about like someone's life and a tragic thing that happened, so it's a little weird to judge this movie. But at the same time, wasn't it cool that they had just all of this footage, and it was footage that her friends were taking, and Amy's voice is in so much of the movie. And it's just like they had so much material to work with, and they made it such a personal movie.
I mean, not to fast forward a bit. I mean, just to go through it a little bit at a time. Like, I remember when, the topic of Amy Winehouse, I didn't know anything about her. I didn't really care that much. Like, you recommended it.
Neither did I.
I was just kind of like, documentaries are not really my thing either. Like, sometimes they are, but not really. And then, I don't know, it took me a while to, like, get interested. I think it was maybe 40-50 minutes in that I started to get interested into actual stuff, to be honest.
That's fine. I mean, I understand that, but doesn't
it did get really interesting. Like, I hated the boyfriend and the father. I despise them so much. Terrible people. Like, the dad the denied her to go to rehab. Like,
I hate the father more. I hate the father more. Like, the boyfriend may have done the crappiest thing. I mean, a father doesn't act.
And then, like, even years later, he just that one thing he did, bring all the cameramen to that one place.
The reality show pissed me off more than anything in the show.
Yeah, man.
In the movie, fuck. Yeah, it's a very fucked up, sad movie. Like,
I didn't know anything about I just knew in general she did a lot of drugs. I knew that much. I didn't know she was a singer. I didn't know what she was famous for. I remember when I was younger hearing her name. I just didn't know about her at all. I don't know.
Yeah.
I was young, so I don't know. It's interesting knowing all this.
I like listening to her music throughout the movie, though. I just think it's like when it comes to documentaries, it's just one of the most well presented I've ever seen. Actually, I would say it's more well presented than Dear Zachary. Dear Zachary is just sadder.
Staying on the topic of Amy, though.
Yeah,
not to offend at all, but just about Amy Winehouse's music. Like, I'm not really a fan of it. A lot of it, I was just like, it's just not my thing at all. Her voice is good. It's just I don't know, a lot of the words you can barely make out. Thank God there was words on the screen a lot every single time. But,
Yeah.
other than that Rehab song, which is catchy, I have heard that song before this documentary. I recognized it, but everything else, it's kind of, it was okay.
I like that
But
we do get to see
I did
some.
feel bad for her as the movie goes on. She was very
Yeah.
innocent. She just kind of, her past and everything, how she was brought up. You feel really bad for her. So she's crazy, but it's not her fault. You feel really bad for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, even her mom was kind of messed up, right? It has been a while since I've seen this.
Her
Like
mom. They talked
the
about her
mom
mom
was,
only briefly in the beginning, like
yeah,
about when she was younger. But yeah, it's a shame. She had a
yeah,
lot of siblings. They didn't really bring that up too much. She had like what? She was
yeah.
five
They
children.
showed
She
what
was
they
five.
needed to show.
Yeah.
I do like how they do show a lot of the tragic and horrible stuff that happened. They do like show some positive moments. Like I really like the moment where she actually like she does that like performance in the studio with like someone who's basically a hero of hers. Who was it again? I forget the guy. Because again, it's been a while since
Toby
I've seen
something
this movie.
maybe.
What?
Some Toby something maybe. I think his last name started with a B. I don't know.
Oh man,
He's a
I'm
great
pissing
singer.
someone off right now. um.
Um,
So yeah, I mean, like, do you have anything else to say about it? Like, again, I know it's kind of a weird one to talk about because we're literally just talking about someone's life right now and
I
how
remember,
unfortunate
I
the events
remember
that.
a lot of times during the movie until a certain point, because there was a few things that I related to, but most of it, because a reason I didn't get into it for a while throughout the movie was I didn't relate too much,
Mm-hmm.
which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it did keep me disinterested even more so with the topic of Amy Winehouse. I didn't really care that much for it. So,
Mm-hmm.
there were some things though. There were some things like
Mm-hmm.
when she lost, her grandma. Like, we've all lost someone. We can relate to that. And
Yeah.
depression on that level is, not on that level at all. But we all feel a little bit of something.
I think
So
a lot of us can connect to
yeah.
depression on that level, though. I wouldn't say I'm one of those people, but I mean, I just look at that and I'm sympathetic because like I don't
And
I don't think
what
I've ever
makes it
been
even
like.
worse in her case, like she really didn't want to. It sucks that when she was younger, she didn't really want to say if she was ever famous, she wouldn't want to get there, and just kind of it was forced upon her all this success and being famous and all that. And she just could not take it. It was very overwhelming. It
Those
it,
fucking
it sucks.
paparazzis, dude. Like those people are fucking horrible.
Yeah.
It's so funny. I was like listening to like I was like thinking back at stuff from like early 2000s movies, like the really shitty ones, because there's just a point where there's all these kids movies coming out where like it was about a kid who wanted to become famous and they became famous and it's like such a great life. And they like constantly glorify stuff like the paparazzi. Like I feel like I really do feel that was something that was almost like glorified.
I think some
Like
people can handle it. Definitely, it's just like she already was like in
but they
older
were like
recordings that she was vocal about like not feeling comfortable with the idea of that. It's a shame
they're
that all this kind of happened.
but they are just like genuinely terrible people. Like I just don't think there's a way to justify like if
And at
you
the
were
same time,
watching
she
those
didn't have the
people in
right
that
people
movie.
in her life to kind of support her through all of that. To kind of,
Yeah.
it's like yeah, you've got a mental problem with
It
all
seemed
this.
like there was a few
Bad,
people, but she completely shut them out.
yeah. Well,
Like I
the
mean, she
boyfriend
was
didn't make it any better, giving her all crack,
the
getting her
boyfriend
on
was a
crack and
scum.
all that, and the dad, like, kind of egging her on to continue all this during certain times when she should have taken a break.
It helped him because it was
She,
giving
I
him
mean,
attention.
she
Giving
shouldn't
him
have
money.
always said, "Oh no, being famous is a bad idea." Like, I feel like she could have gotten there to the point where she was comfortable with it. I feel like anyone could be. It just takes some therapy, but like, she just had the wrong people, of course. Those examples for
I think
sure.
it's harder for musicians and a lot harder for like I mean
Mm.
this is an assumption obviously. I think it's a lot harder for musicians than actors because I think that like there's some really famous actors out there, but I think that like whoever is the most popular pop star out there right now or just musician in general, like I think they're going to be dealing with a lot more crowd, a lot more paparazzi. That just seems like music brings in bigger crowds than movies do.
Not. I just realized too, like, I she's, I'm not a fan of her music at all, but like, I will give her props. Her lyrics are really great. They're deep. They're really good lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
Every single one.
I think
She's
she
got
was just a
talent.
good. I
She
mean,
had talent.
yeah, I
Yeah.
thought she was a good musician.
Mm.
I agree. I mean, like, I agree with you. It's not like I watched the movie. I remember liking them, but it wasn't like I was looking her up, like her music up after that.
Yeah.
I do like a lot of the stories of like how her songs are being written. I love how they show lyrics on screen like constantly for like just right, like showing her notes was kind of cool.
Yeah. And they put them up at the
That's
right
why the
times
presentation was so great. Like, I get like yeah, like it's just a very well edited.
That one song about love is like something about like it'll end badly every time or something, like during some award show or something, or some big performance, she walks off stage and then her boyfriend comes into the frame and and this was like after like everything that he's done to her and everything, all the crack and stuff.
He tried to.
So it's like seeing that after that performance with those lyrics, it was like, oh my god.
I think he tried to yeah.
Amazing.
Oh my god,
you know what I
remember
mean?
now. Yeah, I think he tried to press charges when the movie came out. He didn't realize what his audio was going to be used. Yeah, it's just like the Monkey Jones shit. Got interviewed for something. He didn't know what he was getting himself into. He lied and said it was creative differences. No, but also, yeah, the boyfriend, he's a fucking asshole, and he still is. But oh, what was I gonna say?
There was a point in the movie where he did say like he was working out, he was getting better, he didn't need her anymore. I don't know if that was a point where like he was good, but at the same time, he can't make up for those kind of sins. I don't know.
You can tell he's like almost trying to be a sympathetic voice at the beginning of the movie. Like he's saying this as if he's gonna look like such a great person when it comes out. What a fucking idiot.
Yeah, probably.
And then there's like, I love that one thing I actually do love, like as a decision that the filmmaker made, is just not showing video from the interviews. Only
I found that at first like a bad thing, because I was looking forward to that. I was like, where's the interviews? I only hear people. I don't really like this too much. And then as the film went on, it was a creative decision that I oh my god, it's Teddy calling.
Who's bothering you?
It's Teddy. Which, by the way, he's in the hospital, or came out of the hospital recently for kidney stones.
I'm sorry, I said fuck you, Teddy.
I feel bad for not picking up his call right now, but
he was on Metal. Me, you, and him did Metal Mouth together. But was he ever on DuckCast?
No.
We gotta get.
I don't know if his internet's great though, but like yeah, and also his schedule is weird. You never know with him.
It could be over with you one night, but we'll see. No, I'm like, this is an open invite if he ever wants to do it, because I feel like we got to get some new guests on for season 4 at some point.
I'll ask him.
We did so many last season. Like I'm really running out of people to ask to be on our show.
What was I saying before the phone call though?
You were saying about like the audio interviews, like you're saying you weren't at first.
Oh yeah.
You weren't
I came to appreciate. At least they like showed like the person's name and who they were. At least you know. I'm happy they did that.
I just thought it was a nice touch to show.
You don't see that a lot in documentaries either. That kind of thing. It's always interviews.
Really, you don't.
Yeah, not bad.
It felt like it was. It really felt to me like it just made everything blend together so much nicer.
And then the lyrics again, like a documentary about a musician having the song lyrics appear on screen for a lot of the documentary during certain great points during it.
Yeah.
It's good story pacing for sure.
Well, yeah, and that's kind of what I was saying with the pacing. I think it helped the movie's pacing a lot because we weren't stopping showing the footage to cut to like someone sitting in a chair and talking. Like this was just the best way to present the information. Like I didn't feel like I had any of my time wasted watching this movie.
I feel like audiences are really spoiled by that kind of format too, don't you think?
Say that part again.
I feel like audiences are kind of spoiled by that kind of format, the cutaway to the interviews when we want to see the rest of the footage.
I don't think the cutaway interviews are ever that interesting either. Like I think that some people, I feel like honestly the best example of like it being done is in The Office.
Yeah, it's like comedically, it works for jokes. Yeah, you cut back and
a lot of shows use it as just as as an easy way to fill in time. But The Office like specifically would use it because they would show something horrible on the screen and then cut to like a character just like sitting in a room distraught. Like it was just that's
Parks
like
and
an
Rec does it
example.
sometimes too. Yeah, they just
Parks,
it's like
it was
punchlines, you know.
the same people, yeah. So they were able to do it pretty well.
Yeah.
The yeah, like I love the movie. I guess that's really all I have to say about it. Like maybe I think I was like trying to say something earlier. I don't remember, but I'm sure I've pretty much said everything I want to about
also
it.
to follow up with this little topic of Amy, like
So
that I was so embarrassed when I sent you the text. You told me it was, by the way, it's a very depressing movie, and I read it as like, by the way, this movie's terrible. Like I thought you were recommending like a bad movie just for me to see, just as like a joke. I read it and I was like, I laughed out loud. I sent you.
If I ever recommend a movie, it's going to be something like Birdemic, The Room, like where it's not good, but I'm not like sending it to you to be a dick. I'm sending it to you because you're going to find it hilarious. But I don't even think I'm going to do that really, because how many of those make it onto Netflix, and that's your option right now. They're certainly not on YouTube either, unless if you pay for them. But so that's pretty much everything for me. Like Amy, like as a documentary differently from how I'm going to rate a regular movie. I'm going to like, how was the information presented? Was it like, was it entertaining to watch? Was the information presented in an interesting way? Was it put together nicely? And I think yes, it was done flawlessly. I give it a 10 out of 10.
I think if I was interested in the topic at first, I would have gone into it quicker. But it did take me 40 to 50 minutes to really get into it personally.
It didn't take me long at all, but I think it was just because it's I hate to have any amusement out of like a tragedy like that, but maybe amusement's not the right word.
I think maybe it was like, when you told, maybe it made it worse when you told me it was a depressing movie, because I was going into it being like, I don't want to feel sad right now. Fuck this,
I was kind of.
I had to for the DuckCast, so it's like, I don't know. At the same time,
warning, because if you would have told me that I can't do a depressing movie, I would have given you something else. But,
it's more of like a 7-year-old's baby tantrum kind of comment, though. At the same time, like it was just my mood at the time. It's like, who cares? Just watch the damn documentary. Get sad. Who cares?
Yeah, Amy made me sad though. It was a very depressing.
Go see Amy.
I mean, there's some beauty in it. There's some beauty. It's on Netflix, so check it out. Most movies we talk about on this are gonna be Netflix. Like I said, Zachary can recommend something outside of Netflix.
Did you notice also? I just realized too. The movie starts out the oldest footage starts off in 2001, and her death is in 2011, like 10 years after. A little over 10 years after. It was January 2001 to July, I think, of 2011. Exactly 10 years. Oh, no, exactly, but yeah.
So should we do our recommendations?
Yeah.
So I'll start off with mine. Maybe, and if you've already seen this one, tell me, because I have a few. The only recommendation I have that I think is a great movie is Coraline, which is an animated.
Coraline, I've never been interested, but if you really think it's a good one.
Right. I like it. I think you should check it out.
It's a stop motion kind of movie, right?
Yeah, and I mean it's like a little creepy at times, but I wouldn't consider it a horror movie. I would consider it a kid's animated film.
Right. I hear it's good. I'm just not into the format, but I'll give it a chance.
Give it a chance. Tell me what you think.
Right.
I personally enjoyed it a lot, and I was one of I used to really not be interested in like stop motion stuff, and I held off on Coraline for so many years. But honestly, I think I watched it and I really liked it. Like I actually think I watched it recently too.
And hey, if I don't see Coco by the time the next DuckCast happens, like recommend Coco to me, because I haven't seen that either.
No, I'm not going to recommend Coco to you because I think that's mediocre as hell.
Okay.
But I mean, maybe I liked Coco, but I'm not recommending it. Coco was better than Meteor, but it wasn't like it was a Pixar movie. Like, I mean, there's not that many great Pixar movies.
There's a few on my list here to recommend to you. I'd say. Are you still talking? Like thinking here, you're just talking. Have you ever seen The Imitation Game with Benedict Cumberbatch?
No.
Okay, write that down. The Imitation Game, great movie. I've seen it a few times.
I'll just add to my watch list on Netflix real quick.
It takes place in World War II.
I've seen it on Netflix.
Yeah, it takes place in World War II. Benedict Cumberbatch is amazing, and I feel like, Yeah. You know, I'm not gonna say anything. I think it's a great film. It's based on a true story, by the way, too.
Wait, is it still on Netflix?
Yes, 100%. I'd be surprised if it wasn't. I'd actually really hate the Imitation Game.
I'm not seeing it. Wait, am I spelling imitation wrong? How do you spell?
Oh my god. IMI.
Yeah, it's not popping up for me.
Oh my god, hold on. Don't, come on.
I saw it on Netflix too. I know it's on there. Did they just take it off today or something?
No, come on, wait.
I hope I'm wrong. I was spelling imitation right.
No! Is it really?
I think so.
It was on it was on here recently.
It was.
They took it off
yesterday.
They actually
Wait.
That. They did.
They take it. I think they took it down today, dude.
It's bullshit. It's such a good film. If you're able to see it at some point, but I'll recommend something else to you.
I mean, I can do it eventually because, like I said, to do stuff that's off of Netflix and just rent it. But money is a little bit weird right now, so you know.
All right.
Look at this.
Since you haven't seen this, I know you haven't. We talked about this, and you didn't. You said you didn't see it. It's another documentary. That one of Jim Carrey doing the Andy Kaufman impersonation.
Shouldn't I watch that movie first, though? I never seen that movie.
I saw the documentary first. I think it's better than the actual film. You'll understand what the film's about anyway by seeing the documentary. Go watch it. Jim and Andy, The Great Beyond.
I'll try to do both, but I'll definitely do that one. And what's it called?
Jim and Andy, The Great Beyond.
Let me add that to my list.
I think it's a Netflix original, so it should be on there, forever. So.
Yeah, it's a Netflix original. Is this the one where he the method acting movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard about this. Okay.
Yeah, definitely see it.
All right.
I
guess that's everything.
No.
We stopped doing the recommendations. Do you have anything?
We're recommending movies now. That's just our thing now. It's just us. That's what it is. Yeah. So, how do you want to end it?
By ending my life.
Did you know? Did you know?
Sudoku.
Why you don't do that? Come on now. It's not even a funny joke.
I'm gonna keep bringing this joke up. It was the name of the first episode of this season.
And you thought it was an original joke by your friends.
This is gonna be the committing Sudoku saga of DuckCast. End the episode.